Hello, I'm Taeha and welcome back to another video which I hope becomes a end of the monthly series where I talk about keyboard news. Since there are already other creators who cover group eyes, I'm hoping to focus more on keyboard happenings, but that's not to say I won't mention products that I personally like or think are cool. Starting off with what I think was the biggest announcement this month, GMK will now be offering a brand new keycap profile called MTNU, designed by veteran community member Taeha. And get this, it'll be spherical, double shot, PBT. This is pretty big news, especially since GMK practically has been synonymous with cylindrical cherry profile ABS keycaps since dinosaurs have been around, which is why you'll start to see the GMK acronym being extended to GMK CYL for cylindrically shaped sets and GMK MTNU for spherically shaped sets. While this is the official naming, we'll have to wait and see how it sticks around in the community, as these acronyms are a bit long and I imagine most people will still stick with just GMK versus MTNU, given that GMK is the sole manufacturer of MTNU for now. GMK and Novel Keys were kind enough to send out a small prototype kit of the new MTNU profile that was just limited to mostly the alphas, and I do really like how these feel so far. If you're someone who enjoys spherical keycaps as well as the cherry profile height, I think you'll be right at home with MTNU, as it is somewhat of a marriage between the two. I would rank the sphericalness or how much finger hugging I feel as an in-between an SA and Topra High Pro keycap profile. SA for me personally didn't hug my fingers enough, with the edges of the keycaps feeling a bit undefined at times. And while I personally love Topra High Pro, I can't understand it feeling too aggressive for certain people. MTNU feels like a great in-between with just enough finger hugging and crisp yet gentle feeling edges to guide your fingers to get properly hugged. 3 MTNU pre-orders already ran this month, and I think this profile will be here to stay, as well as be a great introduction to spherical keycaps for enthusiasts who have never tried them before. NRD Designs, a keyboard design studio that has quickly grown in popularity for their quality and designs, finally launched their public offering of the Kaze TKL, one of my favorite TKLs of all time. Additionally, they've already announced their next design, the Oku, which I think looks quite unique but fantastic. The QK60 round 2 pre-order ran and concluded this month, but pre-orders for the QK100 will open on June 30th. I was able to check out both on stream, and the VODs are available over at youtube.com/Taeha Tapes. Both keyboards are fantastic options for anyone in the hobby, and it is insane the quality of product that QWERTY Keys has been able to offer at such low prices these days relative to this hobby. KeyBlife 2023 tickets sold out twice within the span of hours, which is awesome to hear. Big Southern California meetups sort of died with the pandemic, but after its first successful organization last year, check out my vlog of the meetup if you haven't already, KeyBlife is poised to quickly become the big annual SoCal meetup. Congratulations to the KeyBlife team, and I'll be there this year as well, so hope to see many faces there. Additionally, there are tons of meetups happening in July, next month, so hopefully these monthly videos can help to raise awareness to meetups, since I get asked a lot about when meetups are happening. There are too many cities to name off, so I'll just link everything down below in the description box, as well as to all the other news in the video. If your city is not listed and not hosting a meetup, be the change you want to see and consider organizing your own meetups. It's the best way to quickly get engaged with the hobby, and it doesn't even have to be a big event. Even if it means 5 enthusiasts gathering at a local coffee shop, that's 5 potential new friends you've made over this hobby of ours. And that's a great start, especially if you're from an area that isn't big into the keyboard hobby. The recent Reddit API changes pose a risk to popular subreddits r/mechmarket and r/mechanical keyboards, and while I don't frequent these subreddits as often anymore, that's still disheartening to see. It'll be interesting to see what comes next. I guess holistically for all of Reddit, but yeah, it'll definitely be a mark in keyboard history if RMK and MechMarket shut down, as that's where many of us started. Separate from the recent Reddit API changes, Desk Authority is also supposedly at risk of shutting down, which would be catastrophic to the community, as it is probably the biggest goldmine of vintage and quirky keyboard knowledge. Hopefully the moderators of these forums can find a way to at least archive old posts and potentially migrate somewhere if needed. We had 3 vendors celebrate anniversaries of being in business all this month. Congratulations to Bolsa Supply and Divinity celebrating 3 years of being in business. It's awesome to see two local businesses here in Southern California that both began during COVID to have survived the pandemic, and Divinity also is a channel sponsor of mine now that I have begun to work with this year. Additionally, another channel sponsor, OmniType, celebrated their 6th year anniversary with a redesign of their website and support system to make purchasing keyboard parts even easier. While some vendors were able to endure through the changes the pandemic brought, some unfortunately were not. P3D, a vendor that many adored for their custom plate cutting services as well as Cerakoting services, has announced that they will be closing shop on July 31st. If we can help them clear any existing inventory, that'd be awesome. Expect to see garage sale type products on their websites at a discount, and kudos to them for being transparent about it. Many customers of Mechs & Co. are furious as they have been unresponsive and many orders have not been fulfilled for well over close to 2 years now. This is not meant to stir any drama, and please don't go pitchforking, and if you have any criticism, please be civil. But as this appears to be a widely public case now at this point, I felt like it was worth mentioning. I also don't have any purchases from Mechs & Co, so this is just based on what I could gather online. But from the looks of it, it seems pretty serious, as Mechs & Co has not even paid certain manufacturers for their orders. Most notably, a Milky Way representative has recently announced that the keycap orders Mechs & Co placed with them will be reclaimed. For those unfamiliar, Milky Way is a keycap manufacturer, and Mechs & Co placed a group buy order with them, or potentially multiple, as I'm not sure how many group buys are outstanding at this point. Milky Way upheld their end and got all the keycaps manufactured, but Mechs & Co has not paid for them. Whether it's a partial outstanding amount or the full amount that's unpaid, we don't know, but I would imagine most manufacturers usually at least require a certain percentage upfront for some security. Milky Way informed Mechs & Co that they need to complete payment by a deadline. Otherwise, Mechs & Co forfeits their order, but from the looks of it, I don't think Mechs & Co will be able to pay. From Milky Way's perspective, they have already sunk labor and material costs to get these keycaps made, and need to get paid for it to pay their designers and for their business to continue running. Unfortunately, this means that they will be reclaiming the sets, meaning it won't get delivered to customers, and Milky Way will be trying to sell the keycaps themselves through a website that they are planning to set up. So what does this mean? Well, the original customers who purchased through Mechs & Co won't be receiving their keycaps, and if they do still want it, they will have to essentially repurchase it through Milky Way. That absolutely sucks, but there is no real way to resolve this, unfortunately, and I understand the customers' anger as well as Milky Way's need to run a business. This also raises the question on what will happen to GMK sets and keyboards that have been sold through Mechs & Co. At this point, all customers can do is wait to hear directly from Mechs & Co, but it remains to be seen whether they'll come out and be transparent or not. And finally, the legendary TGR Jane is coming back for V3, and pictures of a new prototype have been floating around Discord already. There doesn't appear to be too many major aesthetic changes in my opinion. I was personally hoping for a more major design change or even a departure, but nonetheless, any new Jane iteration is always awesome to see. The TGR Jane V3 is now a center USB keyboard for the first time, with the USB port cut out into the Toblerone accent piece. With the change to using magnets to hold the bottom plate as seen since the TGR Jane ME, there are now less visible screws on the bottom, and it does appear to be seemingly seamless, with the top half of the case now enveloping the bottom piece. It hasn't been confirmed whether it's F12 or F13, but based on this picture, I'm hoping it returns back to F12, but I don't know, kind of looks like it might be F13. I'm also hoping that the pictured olive color is going to be publicly offered, as we haven't seen an olive Jane since the V1. And that's it for this month. If you guys would like to help recommend upcoming news for future videos, I have set up a channel in the Taeha Types Discord where you can post your submissions, and I'll most likely start reviewing them on stream towards the end of the month before I start working on them like we did for this video. Let me know down below if you guys liked this type of video and if I should continue doing them monthly. And until next time, see ya nerds.